for this last section, our 3-5 section, we're going to split this into 2 days. So for this video, we are just doing the adding fractions. So we have 2 different kinds of fractions. We have fractions with like denominators and fractions with unlike denominators. So our like fractions that we're starting off with are fractions that have same number in our denominator, such as 7/10 and 6/10. So those would be our like fractions, vocab word there for you. So like fractions are fractions with the same denominator. And when they have the same denominator, when we add them, so 7/10 plus 6/10, denominator stays 10. We do not do 10 plus 10, but we do add our numerator. So 7 plus 6 gives us 13, which is an improper fraction. We don't want to leave it as an improper fraction. So you can either do this by hand or do it on the calculator. We would simplify 13/10 into 1 and 3/10. All right, our next example, again, working with our like fractions, 5/8 plus negative 7/8. So again, we keep the denominator of 8, and then 5 plus negative 7. Just like before, if we still need to do the pluses and the minuses. So I have 5 pluses, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sorry, 5 pluses, 7 minuses. We would end up with 2 extra negatives, so negative 2/8, which reduces. They're both divisible by 2. So final answer is negative 1/4. Your negative can be with the numerator out front, or if you put it with the denominator, that is also correct, as long as there is only one negative. Make sure we are fully simplifying each problem. And so there's working with like denominators. Now if we have unlike denominators, we need to first create like denominators before we can add them. So if I look at our first example, 3/8 plus 5/24. I see I have an 8 and I have a 24. So what can we multiply 8 by to get 24? I know that 3 times 8 is 24, so we are going to multiply both our numerator and our denominator by 3. So 3/8 can be rewritten as 9/24 plus 5/24. Now we have like denominators, so we can add just like before. 9 plus 5 gives us 14/24, which we can reduce, both divisible by 2. So final answer is 7/12. So final answer is 7/12. And our next example, negative 3/10 plus negative 5 3/4. First off, we don't want to work with a mixed number. So we're going to leave this, just draw a line down here, negative 3/10 plus, remember we multiply and then add, 4 times 5 plus 3 gives us negative 23/4. Okay, so we have a 10 and we have a 4. Now what can we change both a 10 and a 4 into so that we have like denominators? Well, my smallest number would be 20. So 4 times 5 give me 20. 10 times 2 gives me 20. So again, make sure we're multiplying numerator and denominator on both sides. So 2 times negative 3 gives us negative 6/20, plus negative 23 times 5 would be negative 115/20. Negative 6 plus negative 115, both negative, so we're going to add them together. So negative 121/20. Again, we have that improper fraction, so we want to change that into a mixed number. Well, 20 goes into 121 6 times, so negative 6. We have a remainder of 1, so negative 6 and 1/20. Okay, so there is working with some unlike denominators. We will do more practice with this in class tomorrow if you didn't quite follow along. We didn't have to change it to 20 here. If you can't see the smallest number, you can always just multiply these together. So we could have multiplied this fraction by 10/10 and this fraction by 4/4. And then you would have just had to reduce more at the end, which is fine. Again, we'll work some more with this tomorrow. All right, one last problem for today. Yato needs 3 3/4 cups of sugar to make cookies. He needs an additional 3/4 cup for bread. Find the total amount of sugar that Yato needs. Okay, so we need 3 3/4 for the cookies. We need an additional 3/4 for the bread. If it's an additional, our operation is addition. Change this to an improper fraction. So 4 times 3 plus 3 gives us 15 over 4 plus 3/4. They are like fractions, like denominators. So 15 plus 3 gives us 18 over 4. We definitely want to change this one back to a mixed number because 18/4 cups of sugar makes absolutely no sense. 4 goes into 18 4 times, remainder of 2. Check, can we reduce? Absolutely. 4 1/2. And it's a word problem, so we want to make sure we label cups of sugar. And just double check here. Yes, we are correct. 4 1/2 cups. All right, that is adding fractions with like and unlike denominators. Tomorrow's lesson will be working with subtraction.